And now let's finally talk about manual sponsored products. In campaigns, as I mentioned in the previous video, their placements completely overlap with automatic ones, and they compete for the exact same spots. And even though we have targeting by keywords, we also have targeting by products, by categories, and by individual ASINs. Still, all campaigns targeting search or keywords can appear both in the search results, at the top, in the rest of the results, as well as on the product page. In much the same way as other strategies, your specific product targeting advertising campaigns can show up right at the very top of the page, throughout the rest of the organic search results, and also in their proper dedicated placements on the actual product page. So it turns out that all sponsored product campaigns for a single ASIN on the same keyword can theoretically compete with each other for ad placements. And in the top section, we usually see 5 spots. There might be 4 spots. If we look at the carousel below, there can be another 2 top spots, for example, or just 1. So having only up to 6 spots for the entire market for the whole search results page is actually quite few. Competition's very high, and we need to make sure that our best campaigns are shown, make it to the top, that our best campaigns get into the rest, into the upper part of the rest. When we are specifically discussing the product page and the various strategies for product targeting, it is very important to remember that our advertising campaigns can frequently appear in the Customers Also Bought section or within the Frequently Bought Together blocks that you see on the site. These placements are highly effective for reaching your target audience. And here as well, our sponsored product campaigns, as we can see, can be displayed. And Amazon now has this phenomenon called backfill. If there isn't enough competition, or if bids for display ads are too low, Amazon replaces sponsored display ads with sponsored product ads. Team leads told me about this, and then we ran an experiment as well, because their acquaintances were the first to notice that ads were appearing in banners that are always perceived as sponsored display. On accounts where there are no sponsored display campaigns, sponsored product ads are shown instead, right in that spot. This is called backfill. In other words, if Amazon finds it unprofitable or thinks it's too cheap or that there isn't a worthy candidate for that spot, it takes another type of ad and places it somewhere it normally wouldn't go. And that ad gets shown too. That's why Amazon is extremely unpredictable when it comes to ad placements and is guided only by the goal of making much more money. So not everything follows the rules, and you should expect to see ads in the most unexpected places. But your task is to learn, using reports, how to check which specific ads work where, which ones might work, and which ones won't work. And at this point, you need to understand this so you can isolate or highlight exactly the ads you want to be shown here. If we're talking about product targeting, even about carousels like 4 stars or product related, take a look, 35 pages with 7 products each. That means we have almost 250 products displayed in this carousel. If the first page is visible on desktop, on a smartphone, again, from the carousel, we only see the first 2 or 2.5 products. The second, third pages, maybe someone will scroll that far, but the 10th, 20th, or 30th pages won't bring any sales. And people who buy instantly, who make quick decisions, they buy just like in the top search results. It's exactly the same in these carousels from the first page. On the following pages, you get buyers who convert very poorly. They want to check everything, compare everything, read everything. They'll click on every single ad. These people buy extremely rarely. The conversion rate will be very low, and you won't be able to make money from such ads, and you won't get any useful statistics because the behavior of buyers on the 5th, 10th, or 20th page is extremely atypical. And you also need to understand that you only get a visible impression on the first page if the buyer scrolls to the carousel. Even if they do scroll, but you're on the 2nd, 3rd, or 10th page, the impression is counted for you, but there's no actual display and the center is low. Although, in fact, there's no center here at all, because the ad wasn't actually visible, only the script counted it. That's why ads on the product page only work when they're visible on the first page of the carousel. but they don't always end up in the visible area, especially if the carousel is all the way at the bottom, below the "Compare to this product" block. Who actually scrolls down here, let alone to the 50th page of the carousel? I mean, there are 400 ads here. Who even sees them? And here, by the way, we see one example of targeting for the search term memory pillow. Here, of course, Amazon is the seller. Amazon Health is their own brand, like Amazon Basics, so advertising costs them nothing, of course. Amazon, unless it's a vendor, because it's basically the same as Amazon Basics. And Amazon can afford such a lackluster ad, but you shouldn't use them as an example for the memory pillow search term. Although there is, of course, some connection between this supplement and sleep, and with pillows, it's not that direct. So we can consider this a loose ad, which is advertising related products. Or take a look at this. What a wonderful ad for latex-free mechanic gloves for men. You see, for the search term memory foam pillow, what a wonderful ad is being shown. So Amazon sets up ads perfectly. And here's a product with 3,000 stars that still exists, even though someone is running ads for it in less than the best way. All right, let's get back to our product. So the product is there are ad placements, but you need to be in visible spots, the ones that provide stats, impressions, and can actually convert. Otherwise, we look at a low center and wonder why the center is so low. There's nothing to be surprised about, because it's hard to click on an ad if it's in an invisible area. So, what do we base our next steps on now? We see that we have a huge number of ad placements for the phrase "for broad," for "exact," and for "automatic." Everything is being shown in the same places. So how do we separate these campaigns? That's exactly what the second part is about. In the second part of this topic, we'll talk about how to isolate placements, how to separate different match types, what to do so that we're not competing for the same spots, and so that our campaigns that perform well and generate sales can get the maximum impressions, the most clicks, and you can sell as much as possible, capture the largest possible market share without limiting yourself with unnecessary internal competition.